So yeah, does anyone have any question based on the previous classes? If you've got questions based on the previous classes, you could ask the question now, and then we could discuss the question before we move on to today's agenda, which is programming a guessing game. So can I see thumbs up if there are no questions so I can proceed and know we are all fine up to I'm not seeing any sign. Tobias, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, Coxie is here too. Welcome. Oh, we have a fuller class. So for today, since there is looking like there are no questions, I would just immediately start, and I would start by sharing my screen. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. I'll share the entire screen. And yeah. So I'm sure everyone can see my screen now. So during our last class, this was where we stopped. And for today's class, as I've made mention of, we would be coding a game. And for that, I'm going to create a new repo, like a new file, a new folder for that. So let's get started. Okay. I'm going to name it guessing game. Guessing game. Okay.
Hey, we can see your screen, but it's kind of like sharing desktop 3. So it's not really, I don't know if you're trying to show your progress. There you go. Okay. It was not on the console.
Okay. So what were you seeing earlier?
Kind of like all the screens that you had open, kind of like 3 or 4 different tabs.
Oh.
Okay, now we can see the console properly.
Oh. So sorry you couldn't see that. Okay. So I have created the new folder, and inside the folder it's here, right in the workspace. I created it and I called it guessing game. So Stellar class, let's look for that. Stellar classes, class 1. So yeah, I just did that now, and I would just open it. Yep, guessing game. So I'll basically bring this here, and we can basically have it here started. So I would increase the size of my screen so it's clearer. Can everyone still see it clearly?
Yep, I can see.
Okay, great. So for this particular guessing game, I would want it to be very interactive, and I would want everyone to comment or to ask questions as we proceed and progress. Now, before you build any game, any application, dive in the code without doing this. In a bigger setup, it's called the architecture. Now, what exactly is an architecture? It's just the same definition as what you would call an architecture when it comes to building a house. Before you build a house, an architect would come and would design what the house would look like a model, like a framework of what the house would look like. Then the builders, the civil engineers who are to come into building the house, then they come over and then they do what? They erect the building based on the architecture that the architect gives. Now we can look at what we're about to do in the same sense. So before you literally build any application, any game, you have to understand what exactly would be involved in this game or in this application. Now, in our case, we'll be building out a guessing game. So what are those things that would be involved in this guessing game? So I would start by listing out some. One thing is that we want to ask the user what exactly is the type of guessing game we want to build. The guessing game is a number guessing game. So what does the number guessing game mean? It means that we are trying to build a game whereby we ask the user, guess a number, then the user guesses the number. If the user is wrong, we tell the user, you are wrong. Or if the number the user guessed is low, we can literally tell the user, hello, what you guessed is low. Now, if it's too high, we can tell the user, hey, your number is too high. But then if the player is able to get the correct number, then we say you win. Now, what we are talking about now is basically the guessing game, what the guessing game would look like. So based on everything I've said now, can someone unmute and tell me what are those things we want to look out? I would start by doing that. First, the guessing game should have a place where we get random numbers. Can someone else tell me what we think the guessing game would also have or include? Now, this is building out the architecture of the game. Now, in other scenarios whereby what you are building is quite big and voluminous, the architecture you'll be building would, in fact, include flow diagrams, charts, and all of that. But due to the fact that what we are building is not as big, but rather on a minimalistic level, we would also need to have this architecture. And now for our architecture, one thing we need is a random number generator. What is another thing we need? We need to ask the user, guess the game. Ask the user to guess the number. In fact, that's definitely the first thing to do. We ask the user to guess the number. Can someone else tell me something else? Can someone else tell me something else we might probably ask? Pedro? John? Cogsy? Can someone else tell me something else we might probably need? First, we've asked the user to guess the number. We also said we need a random number generator. Is there any other thing we might need? Hi, Pedro. Welcome. Is there any other thing we might need? You need a checker. A checker, what does the checker do? A checker that checks if the number is correct. That's one. That's another thing we need. What is another thing we need again? Just to be clear, am I still audible? Can everyone still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. What then is another thing we need again for this guessing game? Once the user guesses once, should the game end there? No. We need the user or the player to keep guessing. So we want to keep the player guessing. Keep player guessing till the answer is correct. That's another thing we want to do. Now, another thing is okay, listening out what we've made mention out. We want to ask the user to guess the number. We want to then generate random numbers. That's using a random number generator. Then we want a checker that checks if the number is correct. Then we want to keep the player guessing till the answer is correct. So where do we start from? Let's start from the first one. The first one is we print on the console, guess the number. So we ask the player, guess the number. That's the first step. Basically print guess the number. Now, if we print guess the number, I would want us to keep the cargo run. Cargo run. Guess the number. So we expect the player to what? To guess the number. So now, what's the next thing? After asking the player to guess the number, well, we need to actually collect the number the player guesses. So to do that, we are going to create a variable that takes in the guess. We are going to call that variable guess. What does the variable hold? We call it string new. So this is an empty variable. And this empty variable basically holds the guess of the player. So whenever the player guesses, the player's guess is held in this variable. What's the next thing to do? Well, the next thing to do is to construct this player's guess into something that can be read and returned by the console. How do we do this? We do this by importing a library. What library do we want to use? We would start by using the standard library. That's the Rust standard library. To use the library, you use the keyword use. So for that, we are going to use std IO. So we are going to use IO from the Rust standard library. What exactly is IO? If we come to it, IO basically reads a text. So it's basically a library that reads a text. So it reads and writes. But how exactly does it read and write? And what exactly are we using it for in this case? Well, let's do it. So next, we say IOstdin dot readline. Dot readline. Then we pass in our guess inside it. And to pass in our guess, we mutate it dot expect. We expect it to either fail or pass. So what can we expect? Fail to read line. Let's call it line wouldn't be read. Now, we are having an error here. What exactly is the cause of this error? This error is coming because we are mutating this guess we are asking this library to mutate this guess into something that can be read, but yet we are not mutating it here. So if we add our keyword mute, then the error is gone. So right now, if we print this guess, our guess, if we print it, if we print our guess and comment out this line, what do we have? Empty, nothing. So printing our guess, we have nothing. But then, what exactly then does this io.std.readline does? Now let's run our code again. Exactly. It allows us to pass in whatever variable we want to keep inside this guess. So it allows, it basically reads a data that is collected. So it basically collects data and reads it. That's basically what it does. Does anyone have question at this point? Or are we still on point? Does anyone have question?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my network was not really that good when you were using this STDIO. This was the use of the STDIO. Like, why are you
Good.
using it?
So now, as I made mention of, we need to ask our user to guess the number, right? How then do we collect the number that we are asking the user to guess? The number is collected by using this library. This std.io is a standard library in Rust. So by using this std.io, we are able to collect what our user is guessing. So the number our user is guessing, we are able to collect it using this std in.readline. And then we store it here in our guess. So we type 4, nothing happens. It has just allowed us to do what? Now I'm going to take this line out and run this code again. So it asks us guess the number. Now, because we use this library, we are able to now pass in a number here, 45. Nothing happens. All it does is it reads what we passed in and it stores it inside this place, inside this variable guess. Any other question? Is that clear to you, Coxie? Any other question? Coxie, was that clear to you?
Yes.
Okay. So now, we now have something. What's that thing? Ability to take in a guess from a player, right? What's the next thing on this architecture, a simple architecture that we just brought out to make our job or work easier? Random number generator. So we basically need a random number generator. Why do we need a random number generator? Because we do not want to store the number. It's a guessing game. We do not want to store the number somewhere whereby the user or the player can basically go and check our code and then they see, oh, it is this number. And then they basically win the game just like that. Or we do not want to have just one number. We do not want to have just one number. And for this reason, we want a function that can keep generating different numbers that we ourselves, that we are the programmers, do not know the correct answer. We do not know the random number it's generating. So we need that function. And for that, there is a library that I love a lot for generating random numbers. And to install that library, we are going to do cargo add rand. The name of the library is rand. So we are going to install it. And yes, so to show that we have installed it, I'll go to the cargo.toml and we notice that the rand has been added to cargo.toml. Say if I did not want to use cargo add rand, I could easily just come here and type out rand is equal to the version I want, and then it automatically brings it on to my local, and I can basically use the library without having to run cargo add and the name of the library. Are we following? Does anybody have any question concerning adding the library or using the library? Did we get that? So I'll proceed. Now we have a library we can use for our random number. So for the library, we are going to have to save the random number somewhere. For that, we are going to call it secret number. Secret number. And for that secret number, we will use our library. But we only added the library to cargo. We've not imported it. Inside that rand library, we will be using std. Sorry, we're using rand rng. This is the library we'll be using, basically. So we'll be using this rand library, rand rng, basically the library we'll be using. So for that, we are going to then use, get the secret number. We've named it secret number. It's going to be a variable we name secret number. And the secret number, we are going to use the library to generate a range of number. So for that, we're going to use rand thread range dot gen, and we don't want to use dot gen. Rather, we want to use to generate a range dot generate range. And what should our range be? Let's have a range of number between 1 and 100. Let's say 1 to 100. Good. So now we have our secret number. Our secret number is basically generated from this random number library. So the random number library basically generates the secret number for us. And that's exactly what we are using. And the number we are generating is a number between 1 to 100. So let's print out the number to be sure. I'm going to comment this line out because I do not want to yet pass in a number. So I'm going to say print. Let's see what the random number is, the secret number. Let's see. Let's see our secrets. Secrets. Name it secrets. Secret number. Let's call it, let's say our secret number. So let's say our secret number. So if I can go run, what then is our secret number? Our secret number is 97. If I can go run again, our new secret number is 15. If I can go run again, our new secret number is 90. So if I increase this and made this up to 200, if I can go run, our secret number is 27. 27 is between 1 to 200. If I can go run again, 43, 143 this time. So this particular secret number gives us random numbers. So these random numbers, they are going to be our secret. So now we have a source. We've done this. We've been able to ask the user to guess number. Let me say done. Then random number generator, we've gotten that. Let's call it done. At this point, does anyone have any question? Does anyone have any question based on what we've just done? Does anyone have any question? Or should I proceed? Okay, I would be proceeding now. So since anyone have no question, what exactly then is the next thing to do? The next thing to do is now to check, since our guessing number would include us collecting the number from the user and checking it, we would then have to match if the number the user sent is corresponding with what we have. Does that make sense? So to do that, I would do this and I would uncomment this line. Now this time, before we proceed, I want to do something. I want us to print our guess again. And this time, we are going to print our guess and we are going to see what our guess is, if it has changed after we have read it from the console. So let's print our guess after change, our guess. To do this, we'll name it, we'll say guess, okay. And then let's see. So this time, we're going to cargo run. Let's say 43. Can you see? So now, our guess is 43. But what was our secret number? Let's print our secret number. A secret number print. Okay, I think we've in fact printed our secret number here. So let's print our secret number. So our secret number is 7. Oh, this is a cheat. We have cheated first. I want to do something whereby we print the secret number and we make our guess before printing the secret number. So I'll run the code again, guess the number. I would say it is 30. Now it said our guess is 30. Okay, I didn't uncomment this. Now I'm going to cargo run again. Notice that I keep cargo running. And why I keep cargo running is because we lack something. We lack this that is not done yet. Keep player guessing till the answer is correct. We have not implemented that. And we have to implement that. So until we implement that, we have to keep running cargo run. So now I'll guess the number. Let's say it is 39. I'm wrong. My guess was 39, but the secret number is 84. So it looks like we are getting somewhere. We've been able to get our guess. We've been able to create a program whereby we can get our guess and store it somewhere. And then we also have in our program what the secret number is. Sorry. Does anyone have any question at this point? Does anyone have any question at this point before we proceed? Okay, all is good. Okay. So I would proceed now. Now we have our guess and the secret number. So I'm going to comment this out now. Our next step would be a checker. We've been able to ask the user to guess the number. We've also been able to create a program that generates random number. The next step would now be to combine the user's results, what the player is guessing, to a random number. The player's guess, which is here, we want to compare it to the secret number. That's that random number. So to do that, we are going to create something. We are going to, we will first do something. We are going to first stream, the results we got from the guess the player guessed. And to do that, we say, let's guess. Okay, that was not it. Let's guess equals match guess dot trim. So we will trim it and then pass it dot pass. So we are going to do something. We are going to see if the guess is an okay value or if the guess is not a value that is acceptable. But in this case, the guess, we want to make it acceptable in that we want it to be a number, because situation might arise whereby some players might actually, guess a string, guess a float, or even guess a floating a string number, a string variable. We do not want any other thing apart from an I32. In fact, we do not even want an I32. In this case, we want a U32, because our guess range is between 1 to 200. So if we get an I32 includes even minus whatever. So it includes -1 to -2 raised to power 32 minus 1. So it's still very, very far, and it's still so much. So we want to trim what our guess would look like. So for that, we are going to say okay, and we call it norm, and then for this, if it's an error, we say it's an error, and then we return to continue. Now we have an error. Why do we have an error? First, we are going to check what the error is. I'm going to have to return an error. So in this case, we have an error. Why do we have an error? This is because we are trying to continue to make the user keep guessing when in fact the guess the user is guessing is not inside the loop. So to solve that, we are going to create a loop, and the loop would start from here. Let's create the loop here, and all of this, let's bring it inside the loop. Okay, and for that, if we click on continue, we can basically, all the error is gone. But then looping the secret number is a problem. Why? Because it will keep calling this particular function. So let's remove this from our loop. Let's remove that. So our secret number is no longer in our loop. So does anybody have any question at this point? Does anybody have any question at this point? Hello? Does anybody have any question at this point? Is the internet connection bad? I notice so many people are kind of exiting the call.
Well, I think everything is fine. I didn't notice any technical issues.
Tobias, you can unmute and speak if necessary.
Oh, you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Oh
you.
yeah, like everything is fine. I didn't notice any technical issues, at least from their end.
There has been what?
Yeah, I didn't notice any technical issues. Like everything is fine.
Okay. 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 So let's continue then. So for that, our next step would be to continue the guessing game. Now, since we have no problem, we would now what we only did is a repeating pattern whereby the player keeps on repeating the guess. But then we want to do something. We want to do this third one, which is check if the number is correct. So for this, we are going to still use the match keyword. So we are going to match guess. These are guess. We are going to match it. But to match it, we would need to compare it. Because now what we are matching is we are matching the comparison between these are guess and what the player sent as its own guess. So we are matching the guess and the secret number together, basically. So to do that, we would use a library. And for the library, we'll be using an ordering library. An ordering library is basically a library that is also from the standard library. It's basically helps you compare. So CMP, it compares the two matches. So we are going to be using this ordering library. And then for that, we do guess dot compare. What are we comparing? We are comparing our secret number. Our secret number. We are comparing it with what? With the user's guess. So we are comparing the guess with the user's the secret number. So the player's guess and the secret number. So if the guess is high or low, what should it do? So we'll be using the library, we'll be using ordering.less. If it is less, what do? We say the number you've, okay, let's, if it's low, we say pick an higher number. Too low. Now, if it is high, we say you print it out and say pick a lower number. Guess too high. Then for this, we can just make this guess too low. Now, in a case whereby our guess is now equal, that is, the guess and the secret is the same thing, we use the equal. So we say ordering dot equal, and then we match it, and we return print you win. Then it should also break this. It should also break the loop. Does anyone have any question right now based on what we have here? Does anyone have any question based on what we have here? I think there are some comments here. Okay.
Yeah, the questions that I've seen pop up are more related to the logistics of the presentation.
You said the question you have seen is related to the presentation.
Yeah, someone just asked like, well, how to access the recording. So I just kind of answered.
Yeah, the recordings will be posted later. So currently, I guess there are no questions on what we have. So let's try the game. Now, first of all, done. What does that mean? We've been able to check if the player gets the correct answer. That's if the player is right. So yes, where did we do that? Yeah, we match the guess with the secret number, and then the result is what we print out. We print out that the number you picked is higher. If the result is greater, that is, if what the player guessed is greater than the secret number, we print it out that pick a lower number, guess too high. Now, if the number guessed is the same thing, then we print you win, and then we break the loop. Now, what about this last one? Keep player guessing till the answer is correct. How were we able to do that? We were able to create a loop where we ensured that the player kept guessing until he made the correct answer. So with that, we are going to run our game now, cargo run. And so we now have the question, guess the number. So let's guess 40. Can you see the results? Pick a lower number, guess too high. So let's pick 20. It says pick an higher number, guess too low. That's the guess, the secret number is between 20 and 40. So now let's try picking 25. Okay, it said pick a lower number, guess too high. So now we understand that $23. It says pick an higher number, guess too low. So we believe that the guess is between 23 and 25. In that case, if we pick 24, can we see? You win. Does that make any sense? Does anybody have any question? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So this is the guessing game. So now the guessing game continues. It says pick an higher number, guess too low. Pick 70. It says pick an higher number, guess too low. We pick 100. Pick an higher number, guess too low. We pick 190. Pick an higher number, guess too low. Wow. So let's pick 195. It still says pick an higher number, guess too low. Okay. We pick 198. Said pick an higher number, guess too low. We pick 199. Yeah, we win. We win. So now, this is the guessing game. We've been able to complete this guessing game. But then, a game has so many properties. For example, we could add more things like highest number, like high score. So imagine someone wants to keep track and keep trying how many times you fill the number before getting the right number. Or do you want it that once the person have guessed 5 numbers, the person can once the person have guessed 5 numbers, the person can no longer guess anymore? Then you have the opportunity to do that. So there are different things you can basically do to improve this game, or to, add more features to the game. But this, on the basic level, is what the guessing game looks like. So does anybody have any question concerning this? Okay.
Yes, sorry. No, my network is just pushing me out, pushing me in. So I have a question to that.
Okay.
Okay, when you use the CMP, I wasn't here. It was the CMP and the
The
ordering.
CMP,
Okay.
good. Now, the CMP is coming from a library. It's coming from this ordering library. What does the CMP does? It compares. Can you see? This module contains various tools for comparing and ordering values. In summary, it overloads the equal and not equal operations. In cases where the right-hand side is self, this trait corresponds to a partial equivalence relation. So basically, all it does is it checks, it compares the right hand to the left hand. What is the right hand in this case? The right hand is guess. So it is comparing the guess with the secret number. So once the left hand is lesser than the right hand, it returns this particular struct less. So if you click on ordering, it's an enum actually, not even a struct, it's an enum. It returns this enum, ordering. And so the ordering can be either less or equal or greater. And we used the 3 features. I understand that we have not spoken about enums and structs, which we will definitely be talking about later on. But this particular ordering enum is implemented, and when it's implemented, it has the function is equal, it has the function is nil, and it has the function it's lesser. So basically, the ordering enum is used to compare 2 different numbers and see which one is lesser, and it returns this particular enum. That's the ordering enum. Now, in our case, we said if it is less, it should print this, pick an higher number, guess too low. If it is greater, that's if our guess is greater than the secret number, it will tell us pick a lower number, guess too high. Then if it is equal, we want to print you win, and then we break this loop. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Some other things we might add is this. Whenever a person gets a number, we can basically let the person you guessed is we can basically do this. So now if we are to play the number you guessed is 30. Pick an higher number, guess too low. We pick 70. It says the number you guessed is 70. Pick an higher number, guess too low. We pick 120. It said the number you guessed is 120. Pick a lower number, guess too high. We pick 100. Now it said the number you guessed is 100. Pick a lower number. That means 100 is too high. Too low. Our guess is between 70 and 100. So let's pick 8. Pick an higher number, guess too low. Let's pick 78. Pick an higher number, guess too low. So basically, we know our guess is 79. Really? Pick an higher number, guess too low. It's not 79, but we picked 80. It said the number you guessed is 80. Pick an higher number too low. Guess too low. Okay. So I was wrong when I said that. Okay. Pick a lower number, guess too high. So it's between 80 and 90. Okay, I must have misread that. Let's pick 85. Pick an higher number. Let's pick 87. Pick an higher number. So the actual number is 89. So look at all of these. So many guesses. So many guesses. We could customize it, add new feature. What are the new feature you could add? IS score. Add how many guesses? Guess. Add to this game. But for us, this is where we'll be stopping. And I hope everyone can replicate this game. But until then, does anyone? Mayowa?
Can you see the code again?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay, what did you say?
I was asking if you could see the code again. Okay, yeah, it's got this pen.
Yeah, you saying
Yeah,
something?
thank you. I was asking if you could see the code again, but I've seen it. I've seen it.
Okay, great. So this will basically be the end of our class for today, and that's basically there is a little network break for some people, especially the one of the most popular off, and they could not stay to the end. And I hope you are able to add more of this feature, more to this feature of the game. So you can add IS score, how many guesses guess, number of times to guess. You can add all of that to this simple game. But until then, thank you very much, everyone. I'll stop presenting now, and I will stop recording too. Yeah, Mayowa.